So recently I've been seeing Chucky Beats post online that he thinks hi-hats won't be a thing in 2023. Producers won't put hi-hats in their beats in 2023. He recently posted a YouTube video saying producers will stop using hi-hats in 2023. And I just want to preface this saying that I have a lot of respect for Chucky Beats and what he does, but I don't completely agree with that sentiment that hi-hats won't be used in 2023 by producers. And I have a couple of reasons why. Now, I've actually been thinking about this topic quite a bit, at least for the last couple of years. What is the state of hi-hats in trap and hip hop music? It sounds so much of the same in every beat and is getting a little bit redundant. And I know a lot of you agree as well. So I kind of agree with Chucky Beats on that. But to say that producers won't use hi-hats at all, I think is a little bit of a stretch. Now I can be completely wrong and off on this one, but you can let me know down below. Here are some of my thoughts. Let's talk. Hi-hats are there for groove and pattern. It gives your track that bounce, that groove that you need to sort of get your track moving. Without the hi-hats, you're not going to have that feeling in your track. Now, of course, you could use a guitar pattern, percussion loops, a melody, piano, whatever it may be to get that rhythm in there. But there's just something about the hi-hats that moves your track along, that gets the people moving when they're listening to it, that other instruments don't quite give it, other than like a hard-hitting kick. And we'll get to that in a moment. The other reason is hi-hats is sort of synonymous with trap and hip hop music. It's sort of what we do in these beats. Now, it sounds very redundant to us because we produce trap music, we produce hip hop music. So when we listen to hip hop and trap music, we sound like, oh, there's those hi-hats again. Oh, there's that pattern. There's a roll there, the two-step pattern. It's all the same, but that's because we're in it. So when we hear it, we understand it a lot better. If you don't listen to trap and hip hop music and you come and listen to trap and hip hop music, you start to be like, oh, that hi-hat is new. Interesting how they use that hi-hat, the rolls over there, how it sort of pitched the hi-hats a little bit. Interesting, right? So if you're a new listener, it sounds new. For example, if I go listen to another genre that I've never listened to before, I'm going to hear things that are probably very normal for that genre. But the reality is it's new to me, so I don't think it's redundant and old and just constant sounding. It's new, right? Because I'm not used to it. Hi-hats has pretty much been in hip hop since the beginning of hip hop. Now, it's not what we have today with that really fast stutters, those rolls all over the place, just in your face, but it was more in the background and it was there just to keep rhythm and pattern and groove for the beats, right? It wasn't anything crazy like we have today. Yes, today it's gone sort of extreme, and it all sounds the same, almost. But again, we're in it, so we think it sounds the same. But it's always been there, and I don't think it's going to go away so quickly. Yes, you can take a hi-hat and switch it up for percussion, give yourself that rhythm pattern like that. But I think it still needs to be there because it's high frequencies and it fills out your frequency spectrum in your track. And here's sort of an example that I was sort of convincing myself why hi-hats will stay in hip hop and trap music. You can't remove a hi-hat from a drum kit. It just doesn't work that way. In rock music, you can't remove an electric guitar because that is something that is synonymous with that genre. You need a guitar to be in a rock band, right? You need a guitarist in a rock band because that's just the way it works. That genre, there's multiple guitarists and you need that to give you that rock sound. In hip hop and trap music, you don't necessarily need the hi-hat as much as a guitar in rock music, but it's pretty much synonymous with the genre and people come to expect it. Like I remember when Kanye dropped Donda, I think it was Donda 1, when he dropped that album, everyone's like, oh, there's no hi-hats on the album. And everyone was like, whoa, this is different. There's no hats. It was a nice break. I agree with that. It was a nice break from the hi-hats, but it definitely gave that album a different sound because now people were thinking, hey, there's no hats on these tracks and it's sounding a little bit different and unique because there's no hi-hats. Like, it's an interesting concept to think about. It's like making rock music without guitars or a drum kit without a hi-hat, right? You can't just like pull out an instrument because it's redundant. Like in an orchestra, you can't just take out the violins or the cellos because you feel like, oh, it's redundant. Everyone uses it and it all sounds the same. We can't have that in there. That's not quite the way it works because the cellos need to be there because it fills a certain space in that orchestra, right? Without the cellos, it just won't sound the same. Without those violins, it just won't sound the same. Now, hip hop trap music probably would still sound similar without the hi-hats, but I still think it's going to be there. These are just some of the thoughts that I was thinking about, and you can let me know down below if you agree with me or not. It's just, Yes, I agree with Chucky Beats saying that hi-hats are redundant. They're kind of getting a little bit boring, but I don't think it's the yes, it is a little bit the hi-hats that makes the music all sound the same, but it's also the melodies and the patterns and the sounds that producers are using that all sound the same and all redundant. Oh, here's another track like that, you know? And that's just because, once again, we're in it. We listen to a lot of it, and if you're into a genre, you're going to hear a lot of the same things because that's what makes it that genre, right? These are the elements that are included in a certain genre, and that's what we come to know and expect, or at least what the listener comes to know and expect. And the last example I want to give is in EDM music, you have the kick, the 4-to-floor kick. So the right? And it's just hitting on the fours. And that's been around since the beginning of electronic music, that 4-to-the-floor kick. People were saying, oh, they got to switch it up. They're going to switch it up. It's not, and it's still today the same pattern. Like the same thing over and over, but that's what is needed in that genre of music. When you're in the club and people feel that, you know, it gives them something to move to, and it gives it like a heartbeat to the track. And that's what sort of makes that genre, if I'm making sense. So link all that back to the hi-hats in trap music, and it's sort of what makes trap, right? That sound, that ticky 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 sound at the top, it's what makes this type of music. Now, is people going to be using the same rolls, the same patterns, the two-step pattern moving forward? I don't know, but it's definitely us as producers to push the genre forward and not to repeat the same sounds over and over. And that's where I agree with Chucky Beats. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to go against Chucky Beats' opinions and thoughts. I just want to give another perspective to it. And that's what producers should be doing, is pushing each other to give different ideas and thoughts about a certain thing, especially when you produce that music for a living, right? So Chucky Beats, I love you, bro. But aside from all that, definitely go watch that Chucky Beats video I mentioned at the top of the video. I'll link it down below. He makes a crazy beat in it, crazy song in it as well. He got an artist to sing on top of it. It sounded really nice. But other than that, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this matter. We'll catch you on the next one. Later. Peace.